Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Randy Jeffers, and we are live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, we have a really special guest today, and this is going to be exciting. We've got some all kinds of show and tell things here, and we're going to do some experimenting with Mr. Water Guy, and this is Carl Buzz Thompson. So, Buzz,
thank you.
Welcome to the show, and you are the CEO of
Enviromed Sciences. And Enviromed Sciences, we focus on helping people lighten their environmental toxic burden in ways that are easy, little to no behavior modification, and we show people how to do this very cost effectively. And we got to get the toxins out of the air, toxins out of the water, toxins off of our skin. And most people don't recognize that a lot of the challenges that we deal with today are as a result of nutrient deficiency or environmental toxicity.
Yeah.
So we're all about helping people lighten that environmental toxic burden in ways that are super simple, easy, and fun.
All right. So you work with doing that with water and also with the air, right?
Correct. A lot of people don't recognize, if we could see the air in here, it would look like a snowstorm. Yeah. Literally, there's all kinds of just minuscule particulate that we don't see. In the 1930s, the rate of cancer was 1 in 3,000 Americans would get cancer in their lifetimes. And now that rate is like 1 in 3 women, 1 in 2 men.
Wow.
And so how did we go from 1 in 3,000 to 1 in 3 or 1 in 2? Well, we did nothing because we saw nothing. We see a carload of bad guys coming at us, we'll turn our car to protect our family.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The challenge is we just don't see the toxins in the air or the toxins in the water. So we're kind of fighting invisible ninjas here, but it's really important that we become very proactive about this stuff.
Well, it's interesting when you're in a room and the sun's out and coming through the blinds, for instance. With the reflection, I guess, allows you to see some of the particles. And sometimes you can really see. It's amazing what's in there.
Oh.
But we're blind to it most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So many people I talk to say, well, I don't sleep well at night. And I go, well, what exactly happens before you go to sleep? Well, I put my head on a pillow that I haven't washed in 20 years, and poof, all this stuff comes up, and the first thing, you take your first breath and you become symptomatic as your body just reacts to everything that it just ingested. So I'm a big advocate of something that's not actually here on the table yet with us, but it's air ionization.
Okay. This one here?
Yeah, that one right there. Just to kind of show people, this is one of my favorite items. And this is by Electrolux. The manufacturer Electrolux makes this product.
The same people that make the vacuum cleaners.
Exactly. They license this technology from NASA. And what's so unique about this, it's just a huge paradigm shift. There's no filters in this. It looks like one of those old ozone machines, but there's actually no ozone in this unit either.
Wow.
What this does is it emits a force field of negative ions, so powerful that when dust particles, positively charged particles that could be mold, mycotoxin, as soon as they hit this force field, they're made heavy and they drop to the ground. So this is a really wonderful proactive barrier of protection around our family. So family members that might be allergic to cats, for example, anything that's in the air drops to the ground. The other wonderful nice thing about this is that not only are we dropping the particles to the ground, but what we are doing is proactively addressing toxins, things like germs, virus, and bacteria. So what's so unique about this unit is that it emits hydrogen peroxide molecules.
Wow.
It's really cool. It's literally charging the H2O in the air, and as it goes through it, it turns it into H2O2, and we are emitting hydrogen peroxyls, hydrogen peroxide molecules. So these hydrogen peroxide molecules land on doorknobs, countertops, toilet seats, on the cat itself, and neutralizes the dander. I'm not allergic to cats. I'm allergic to the dried saliva, to the dander. Well, this just neutralizes that. It's absolutely amazing. So here in Las Vegas, a lot of allergens, a lot of stuff in the air, right? Different times of year. This is wonderful. The other thing this is wonderful for is when I come and spend a lot of time in Vegas, which I do often, hotel rooms. We did some we had a company go out and do some very specific scientific testing, and the thing you want to touch the last is the remote control in your hotel room. the most virus and bacteria and fungus of anything we tested, actually. Well, this unit is proactive protection. So when I arrive at my hotel room, I turn this on, or a smaller unit that we have at Enviromed, and it just proactively protects the area. So these are just These are wonderful technologies.
Yeah, very cool. Now, a machine like this would cost about how much?
They're $799 retail.
Uh-huh.
We have a special for your viewers.
Great.
And we're going to make these available at wholesale to everybody. Now, they're going to have to ask for me personally.
Okay.
And but there's a very special package I'll outline a little bit later. But
Okay.
these are wonderful technologies at about half the price of some of the older technologies that just were less effective.
Now, in order to find out more information or to find out about the special, they can go to your website.
You can go to EnviroMedSciences.com.
Let's spell that out now. So that's www.
ENVIROMED. EnviroMedSciences.com.
Okay.
And just give us a call and mention that they saw the Fresh Air Everest on your show, and we'll be happy to take everybody at wholesale.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
So that's the air part of it, and then but the water is so important too, isn't it?
Well, the water really is, and I mean, I was tested by the U.S. Olympic Committee. I was the most hydrated human they had ever tested. I'll share more on that in a little bit.
Wow.
While we're talking about this NASA technology and hydrogen peroxide molecules, if it's okay, I'd like to show another really cool technology that helps lighten our environmental toxic
Absolutely.
burden before we get into water, and that's this little guy right here. This is the future of laundry. It's called Laundry Pure,
Uh-huh.
and just like the air technology is charging the H2O into H2O2 and emitting it out into our environment, this is taking the H2O that goes into our washing machines,
Wow.
charging it with electricity, and the water that comes out and goes into our washing machine is literally hydrogen peroxide. So we're taking the H2O, converting it to H2O2, and that's what we do our laundry with. So we no longer need detergent, bleach, chemicals, fabric softeners. No toxins on our skin, no toxins back in our water supply.
Wow. Very
Yeah.
cool. Now, a machine like this would cost about how much?
So these are $599. That's the retail. Again, we're
That's
going to
good.
take care of your guys at wholesale, but they're $599 retail. This is the greenest, cleanest, most environmentally friendly product I know, and there's so many other uses for it. You literally save about $2 a load of laundry.
Wow.
So between no hot water, no detergent,
Huh?
no trips to the grocery
So
store.
no hot water.
That's correct.
You only use cold water.
That's correct. Just
Wow.
cold water. In fact, what you would use hot water for is to kill germs, virus, and bacteria, but the
Right.
hydrogen peroxide is much more effective at that.
Wow.
Yeah, so another great thing, I mean, we put this, it just hooks up to a water hose,
Mhm.
okay? The line hose that goes into your washing machine.
Uh-huh.
So we have the ability, we hook this up to a water hose, we put it in our jacuzzi, we wash our carpets with it, there's all kinds of uses. Basically, it's a portable hydrogen peroxide water generator, something similar to what large resorts and hotels might use.
Uh-huh.
But this is just a home version. This is the first for home use model of this type. And I have a high-end day spas that uses this. Extremely effective. People with chemical sensitivities, no longer is that an issue. And your clothes come out amazingly bright, and your darks don't fade. It's just amazingly genius, new, healthy technology.
Wow. Very, very cool.
And there's no behavior modification, right? I was at a conference and this one doctor came up and she said, "I love me Laundry Pure." And I said, "Dr. Christine, what do you love about your Laundry Pure?" And she says, "I went to an Anthony Robbins seminar and he said, if you could find 3 hours a week, you could change the world." And she says, "I found him in 3 hours." And she said, "I've outsourced the laundry to the boys. They can't mess it up." So, no
Very
chemical
cool.
reaction. It's just one of those really great, amazing new technologies.
Now, once
That's Laundry Pure.
again, the price of this is
They're $5.99 retail.
Uh-huh.
We have them wholesale for your viewers.
perfect.
So
Thank you.
just EnviroMedSciences.com. Give us a call. Ask for Carl Buzz Thompson. Say you saw Buzz on Randy's show, and we'll take care of you.
Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, super. So, and what do we have here? We have some different kinds of water.
Yeah. Now this is what I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about educating people about hydration.
Yeah.
And my father had passed away of cancer, and this just started this journey for me. I didn't want to be next.
Yeah.
That's how it happens for a lot of people, right?
Sure.
And if you find a guide, you can survive. I try to emulate success, and
Right.
and one of my clients in another business had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's, and she said that drinking a certain type of water saved her life, and she believed that to be the case. So I started researching this water that she talked about, It was an alkaline ionized water, and it was from a new technology that was out on the market. So, but regardless, I wanted to emulate what she did. I figured if you can find a guide, you can survive, whether it's in the wilderness or with cancer. So that started me down this journey about water and hydration, and there's I have a bit of a medical background, and so, you know, the sickest people in the emergency rooms have the highest blood oxidation levels, and the healthiest people have the lowest blood oxidation levels. So we're either oxidizing and aging faster, or we're oxidizing and aging at a slower rate. Well, we all would probably like to age slower.
Sure.
And oxidize less, and then there's the issue of, so there's oxidation, and there's the issue of pH. A lot of people talk about pH,
Right.
you know, that being a big factor in health, and then the other is toxicity. What's in the water? And a lot of people get hung up on that type of stuff. So we're going to talk about a little bit about all of that today, and you know, and maybe the first thing that we'll start with is, and we can kind of move some of this stuff off as we go, is this picture. I don't know if you can see the name here, but it's from a company that talks about having zero nothing in your water.
Right.
Okay. So the first thing they like to educate people about is that we are electrical. We operate like a battery, and so our body, our electrical system runs on electrolytes. Sodium, magnesium, potassium, and calcium, and those things. It's kind of like the wiring in our house. It's not the electricity itself, but it's what carries the electricity. So in our home, let's say that this is our body, would we rather have more wiring and be more conductive, or less wiring and be less conductive?
Right.
Well, we'd probably rather have more and be more conductive.
Exactly.
So a lot of times when people talk about zero water or zero TDS, they're talking about something called total dissolved solids. So it matters, total dissolved of what? Is it toilet paper particulate, which we certainly don't want in our water,
Right.
even though a certain amount is allowed by law. That's kind of gross. Or is it large minerals that are now smaller minerals that our body actually runs on? So I'm not a fan of zero TDS anything. I'm a fan of the right kind of TDS, you know, getting our minerals from our water. So pictures like this are wonderful at getting the bad stuff out. The only challenge is that sometimes when we get the bad stuff out, we sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater,
It
right?
comes along with it, yeah.
So that's the challenge with this kind of stuff. So now that we know that we're electrical and we need these electrolytes to function properly, I mean, it's just our brain works better, our muscles fire better. You know, how do we know sort of the fact from the fiction?
Right.
You know, and that's one of the big challenges. So I have a couple little demonstrations.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Let's do that. This is a great setup for that. So
So these are just normal waters here. We have Aquafina. Everybody knows about the smart water, of course.
yeah, so let's try a couple of things here. Let's take this Aquafina, and we'll just open these up. And this is one of the more popular beverages, and a lot of people are concerned with pH. And I'm not a really big pH guy. It kind of matters, you know, what made it alkaline. I could make my swimming
Lots
pool
of ways to do it.
any pH, right? So I'm a big fan of giving your body what it needs. You know, your body needs what it needs to do what it does. And if we can give our body the raw materials that it needs, well, then it modulates on its own, you know, and balances. So there's our Aquafina. And let's do a smart water here. This is another really popular beverage, found just about everywhere. Okay, that's our smart water, and we'll see how smart this is here. And then this is Fiji. And
The exotic one.
right, probably the most expensive one as well. And then should we do our studio one here?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a Kroger purified drinking water. And then I have something over here which I'll show in just a second. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and start this. What this is I work with just about every Major League Baseball team, and I'm a hydration consultant. So my company's called Performance Hydration, and that's one of the things we do is we focus on optimum performance through optimum hydration strategies. And what I've just done, this is a portable hydrogen hydration bottle.
Really?
So this is creating electrolyzed reduced water. You can see those water ionizers?
Uh-huh.
So this is a portable version of that. The Texas Rangers, when they traveled, they found that they were at a significant competitive disadvantage because they didn't have the water that their bodies were used to appreciating as water. And they traveled and become significantly dehydrated. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to turn this on. I don't know if you can see all of this gas in here.
Absolutely. Look
Okay.
at that. Wow.
That's molecular hydrogen gas generated through an electrolysis process. So this is on-the-go portable water ionization.
Wow. So you started with just tap water.
Just regular water, ideally filtered water,
Uh-huh.
rich in electrolytes, and that's what we have right there. You see how just now that the cloudiness of all of that. So basically what we're doing is we're creating water here that's emulating the miracle healing waters from around the world. So, and these are highly scientifically documented. In fact, anyone can Google Nordenau phenomenon in Nordenau, Germany. In fact, I'll be there next month testing again. But there's some places around the world where that are well documented to have these sort of miraculous properties. Well, science doesn't like miraculous anything. What is it?
Right.
How is it working? And so those waters are now scientifically regarded as strong natural reduced waters. So water reduced or given a strong negative charge through some anomalous process in the earth. And basically what they found was, so the first that they've been reduced, or they have a negative charge, and then that they have also identified that this water is abundant in molecular hydrogen gas. And molecular hydrogen gas is extremely beneficial. There's over 600 peer-reviewed scientific journals, human studies on the efficacious benefits of molecular hydrogen gas.
Wow.
So really, really cool. I call this my super cool H2 fuel bottle. So it's your on-the-go hydrogen hydration. And the reason I'm starting that right now is we'll get to testing that in just a second. So we have an array of beverages here, right? From right here. We move this out of the way, and this is our
Kroger.
This is our Kroger. So what I like to do to demonstrate, we are electrical, and our bodies run on electrolytes.
Right.
So what I like to do is, this is actually plugged into electricity. This is a little light, so it's kind of like it's our electrolyte, so to speak. And what
I
I'm
don't want to try this at home unless we're well trained.
Exactly.
All
So what
right.
we're going to try is we're going to put this in some of these beverages, and we're going to see now. Like this is Aquafina,
Right.
and it says pure water, perfect taste, and it even has electrolyte minerals added to enhance the taste. So when I put this in here, this light should light up if the water is conductive.
Right.
Now remember, water without electrolytes is actually an insulator, according to the U.S. Geological Society. So that means if we were in this studio and barefoot in the water and lightning strikes, if the water happened to be distilled water or reverse osmosis water basically without electrolytes, the water would protect us from the electricity. But once it has the electrolytes added to the water, those are like the stepping stones that the electricity flows across. So no conductivity, no flow, no in that Aquafina. Okay, so let's try the Smart Water. Okay, we have no light.
Nope. Looks the same.
Looks the same.
Now the expensive one
The expensive one. Now let's
should
see.
light right up.
There we go. We get a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So there are some electrolytes
Right.
in this natural water, but I don't know if you guys see that. It's just barely flickering. Okay? And then we have our purified drinking water. Now, interesting story on the purified water. I mean, this is a real deal. So there were some radio morning disc jockeys in Cleveland, Ohio, and they just got to talking, and one of them said, "I think I can drink 3 or 4 gallons of water, in a certain amount of time." And the other one said, "Oh, you can't do that." And he said, "Oh, I can." So they ran out, go get some water. So they went and they got purified drinking water, just like we would think. I don't want dirty water. I want the purified water, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So this is in purified water right now, as you can see. So the challenge is, unfortunately, that gentleman, he guzzled a few gallons and he died in the studio. Now, what happened was, he didn't, fill up his kidneys and not have the ability to process that much water. He literally short-circuited his electrical system. We are electrical, and so if the electricity jumps from stone to stone to stone to sort of cross the stream, well, what he did is he made the stream wider, significantly wider, without adding any more stones. So when the electrical system when the electricity went to jump to the next stone, it just drowned out. And so you have so it's so important. If we're now, like we're in Las Vegas right now, we're out in the heat, right? It's so important that we not only hydrate well, but that we also are drinking water abundant in electrolytes. Okay, so may quench your thirst, but it's not really supporting your body's electrical functioning, which is the main thing we're trying to accomplish here. Now this was this electrolyzed reduced water. And I'm going to hit this button again just so you can kind of see, because I think it looks so cool. Okay, it's kind of a glow stick for whatever you want to do. So it's creating this molecular hydrogen gas. Now watch what happens when I put the light in our reduced water.
Wow, look at that.
Okay, so this is ionized water. This is what's scientifically regarded as that miracle healing water. It's electrolyzed reduced water. If somebody was to PubMed this, it's ERW. And there was a study done called the Nordenau phenomenon, and that's they took water from this spring in Nordenau, Germany, and which they regard as NRW, naturally reduced water. So they compared electrolyzed reduced water and naturally reduced water, and they found that they produced the same SOD-like result in the body. So basically, that's sort of fancy words for saying it helps your body antioxidize very effectively. But look at this. I mean, don't we want to be bright, radiant, illuminated beings?
Seems better than not having a light.
Versus, sure. Versus dull and not having any energy. So that's one of the things that I hope that was helpful for your viewers.
That's very cool. Now, this little machine you have, this little portable machine, is that available on your site as well?
It is. In fact, I have a different site for this one.
Okay.
Now, if they go to Enviromed Sciences, all of these cool tools and gadgets and things that I travel with, and we just lifestyle. That's what I love about this, is that you can just lifestyle it.
Yeah.
It takes a regular bottle of water and we recharge it. So what this is doing, now this is cleaning the water. This water may be clean, but maybe too clean. There's not enough minerals there to support conductivity. This is sort of recharging the water like the earth charges the water. So this site is called myh2fuel.com. MYH2fuel.com.
myh2fuel.com. Okay.
And you'll see this super cool H2 fuel bottle. Ignore the price that's there. These are normally $297. Anybody gives me a call from your show, very special price as a result of being a guest on your show.
Perfect.
All right. So this is, again, this is electrolyzed reduced water. I was tested by the U.S. Olympic Committee. We have a lot of our U.S. Olympic athletes drinking this water. And the key to why this may work or not work is it literally falls back into something. A Nobel Prize was awarded in 2003 for the discovery of aquaporin water channels. Okay, I'm not so wonderfully special. I don't have like super huge pores or anything that water just goes into that would make me the most hydrated person ever tested by our U.S. Olympic team. What happens is I focus on intracellular hydration versus extracellular hydration. And you say we kind of want to hydrate from the inside out. Beauty's from the inside out. We want to detox from the inside out. So focusing on intracellular hydration is really the key. So in 2003, an American wins the Nobel Prize, and he identifies these aquaporin water channels. So kind of think this is extracellular, this is intracellular, and this little channel the water goes through. And in the middle of this channel is a positive charge. And what happens is the positive is attracting the opposite in, right? So positive attracts negative, and positive repels positive. So the key to superior hydration, which I just scream this from the rooftops, is try to drink negatively charged water. And you say, well, where would we find negatively charged water? The earth. So a lot of your viewers are probably familiar with earthing or grounding. And I use this cutaway from one of my favorite filters, which is a solid carbon block filter, but to kind of show what happens, and that is that rain falls from the sky, okay, sort of our natural process, and this, let's say this like distilled water basically. And as soon as it hits the earth, minerals leach into the water to sort of complete itself, and it's now ready to support life. Things with a heartbeat are electrical. We need the calcium, magnesium, potassium. We need those electrolytes, just like we showed in that demonstration when we want more light. So the water then goes through the earth, which is a big solid chunk of carbon, and then it rests in like an aquifer. Now, when it's in the earth, the water is cool, it's dark, it's airtight, and it picks up the charge of the surrounding earth. So if you're familiar with earthing or grounding, the earth donates these electrons. What do the electrons do? The electrons reduce free radical oxidation. And, I think that we were probably designed to drink water fresh from the earth and walk around barefoot so the earth could charge us.
Absolutely.
And the earth could charge this water. I mean, there's something about this living water stuff that goes all the way back to the Bible. I think we were designed to eat fresh food and drink fresh water. So, interestingly enough, if you had a well and we were to pump water out of the earth in your backyard, the water would register at -10 to -40 millivolts. Right out of the earth, it would be reduced water, naturally reduced water, and it would have this strong negative electrical charge. The challenge is, according to Cornell University, 92% of Americans are now chronically dehydrated. And for years I cited Americans are 75% chronically dehydrated. That's not sometimes dehydrated, that's chronically, that's every single day.
So now say that one more time. 92% of us
are chronically
dehydrated.
That's not sometimes dehydrated, that's every single day, lacking the macronutrient water.
Now, that's true even though we're drinking water?
Even though we're drinking water. So that was the interesting part, because I started looking at the data and I said, how can such a high percentage of people, and at the time I was looking at the old data, which said, Cornell University study said 75% of Americans, they believed, were chronically dehydrated. So now it's up to 92. That was a 20-something-year-old study. So why is everybody so dehydrated? Well, it comes down to one of two things. We drink water from a bottle,
right,
okay, or we drink water from a tap.
Right.
Well, the water in these bottles, most of it has a positive charge, because when water is exposed, like if it came out of the earth and it's exposed to light, heat, air, and movement, it goes proton rich. It basically picks up a positive charge. Okay, and water from our tap all has gone through municipal treatment required by law. So they add all these proton-rich chemicals to kill germs, virus, and bacteria. I mean, so that's a wonderful thing. It's extended life tremendously.
Yeah.
The problem is, the stuff that's put in the water is designed to kill living organisms. Unfortunately, we're living organisms, right?
Right.
A lot of stuff in our microbiome is living organisms. So we kind of need to clean the water before we ingest it. So it's wonderful that it's got the bacteria out, but now we need to clean it before we ingest it. So the water from the tap has a positive charge, and the water from the bottles has a positive charge. Well, if we go back to that aquaporin water channel, that Nobel Prize, that's as fact as it gets, that positive charge is repelling positive. So we're drinking water that our bodies are not appreciating as water through our primary pathway. Now, we have backup pathways. This is going to support life. Okay? We're not going to die drinking this.
Right.
But it's only about 20% bioavailable because of the charge.
Because it's repelling, yeah.
Because it's repelling. So how do we know what the charge might be? So this is another device that I have. And this is, I'm going to go ahead and start my super cool H2 fuel bottle, which you can get at myh2fuel.com. And I'm going to let that charge and just sort of set that right there for a second. And this is an ORP meter. So this does something really interesting. This measures oxidation reduction potential. What is the potential for this solution to reduce oxidation and basically extend life, or contribute to oxidation and age us faster? So I'm going to remember the Miracle Healing Waters are in the range of -200 to -400.
Okay.
Okay, so this, you can read that right there. What does that say?
302.
So that's a positive 302. So that is an oxidizing substance. Okay. And let's go to the Smart Water.
307.
307. So slightly, it's a little more oxidizing. Okay. And then
This one should be different. A little bit. Well, it's bouncing around. 301, 300, 290.
It's a little better.
Yeah, it keeps going down.
Okay.
294.
Still significantly oxidizing. We're going to be well within the 200s.
Yep.
Okay. And then we're going to go to this purified drinking water.
Yeah, 264.
Okay. So, again, like I said, there's got to be something that explains in that 90 percentile of everybody being chronically dehydrated. Well, not only do we need water for hydration, we need water with electrolytes, right? Because now we know that we don't just want water, we want water that supports our life, right? Our connectivity. So watch what happens when I go to this reduced water.
Wow, look at that. 192,
No, there's
190.
that's a negative in front of that.
Yeah, it's a negative. Negative.
So this is strong reduced water in the negative, about negative 200 ORP. So what this means is that this water is donating electrons. Not only is it electron rich, electrolyte rich to support our conductivity, it's literally donating voltage, which we can measure, to our body. So we want to be more conductive, but we also want to have more energy, and we want to reduce oxidation. So the key is, when you drink water like this is water with a negative charge that's rapidly drawn through that aquaporin water channel. And I just tell people, I just go, look, now that you know what you know, I mean, obviously when you know better, you can do better, and now you know. But if you're going to drink water, doesn't it make sense to drink water that works?
Absolutely. Versus
water that doesn't work? And not that it won't quench your thirst, it's just not body by the best stuff,
right.
So hopefully
if we're going to drink bottled water, then we want to make sure we have that machine there, and that is available once again.
That's at myh2fuel.com.
myh2fuel.com.
With the number 2, and they're retail for $2.97. Have any of your viewers give a call, and they can call the number that's on there. You can send a chat message. Happy to extend this offer to them at wholesale.
Okay.
I really appreciate you having me on.
Now this is it's battery operated, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this charges just like it's a lithium-ion battery. Okay, so it charges just like a cell phone. You just plug in right there. Okay, and you can go all day long. And what you want to do is, I just charge my water, and I'll either drink it right out of the bottle, or I'll drink it like this. And you see those little bubbles in there? That's molecular hydrogen gas. I mean, literally, on the regular larger size ionizer, which we have, the most state-of-the-art water ionizer ever created, it's a product called Living Water, and it's available on our website as well. I can put a matchstick under the water as it's coming out, and it'll literally have these little explosions that go pop, 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 pop.
Wow.
All of this hydrogen gas. But it's so light, and it's almost clear now, but it dissipates into the atmosphere. Well, what they found, and in about a month, well, in less than a month, in about 2 weeks, I'll be in Nordenau, Germany, where they did this big study called the Nordenau phenomenon. And a person went there with late stage 4 cancer on his last vacation with his wife, and they said, we don't have a jacuzzi or a swimming pool, but there's an old slate mine, if it was a slate mine prior to World War II, knock yourself out. There's a spring in there if you want to go and bathe in the spring or drink the water. So every day he made his trek back to the spring, and it was a little ways back there. So what was happening is, he's in the cave, he's hiking to the spring, breathing a little heavy because he's not in the best of health, so he's taking air deep. All the bubbles that came out of that molecular hydrogen gas, it was trapped in the cave, so he's breathing the air. Okay, then he bathes in the pool, and he's getting it through his skin. Okay, and he's drinking the water. So he was fully immersed in antioxidant.
Wow.
So yeah, that's.
So now, Buzz, this water here is the taste any different?
It's very smooth. It's very smooth. So, and you can notice the difference over your palate. So, if you just did a taste test with any of these waters, they would be kind of hard, kind of harsh. This is very, very smooth. And the analogy that I like to try to draw with ionized water. So I can talk about ionized water for a moment. So a lot of people are familiar with water ionizers.
Right.
And they'll say, well, we have 5 plates, 7 plates, 9 plates. Well, basically what a water ionizer does is it creates electrolyzed reduced water through electrolysis. Now I'm speaking in the exact specific scientific terms. A lot of people say, oh, it's an alkaline water machine and it's all this stuff, and I believe those people are very well intentioned, just ill-informed, and there's the potential to do harm if the machines aren't calibrated properly, because everybody's water is different. And that's what I really love about this new technology, which we have. It's the only one in the world that self-adjusts to your water versus my water versus the water in anywhere else in the world. It adjusts based upon the electrolyte content in the water, and it adjusts based upon the flow rate. And it doesn't have something called a plate or a membrane. And that's what the old water ionizers have. So it's kind of like the old technology. If somebody was to look at water ionization online, they'd say, well, we've got 5 plates, 9 plates, 10 plates. We applied a whole bunch of power to those plates. And in the old paradigm, that's what happened. Well, in this new paradigm, you use much less power. the units don't get dirty and they're much safer because they adjust to each individual's water on the fly. Because the water can be different hour to hour coming from the plant to your home. So it's very safe technology, it's very healthy technology, and it's literally splitting the water. It's kind of like you have two magnets, and the water is flowing between these two magnets.
Right.
And basically anything with a positive charge is drawn to the negative side of the magnet, and anything with a negative charge is drawn to the positive side of the magnet.
Right.
So if we think of the water molecule, let's say my head was the oxygen with a negative charge, and these two hydrogens right here. As we go through that doorway between those two magnets, we have the opportunity. Some of it will pull this way and some of it will pull that way. What we're literally doing is we're splitting up water into something called OH negative and H positive water. So the oxidizing, the H positive water goes down the drain, and the OH negative is what we ingest, and because of that negative charge, that's what makes it so bioavailable. The other thing that it does, because of the negative charge, is reducing oxidation, and the other component of the water, the resulting component of the water, is this molecular hydrogen gas. So this sort of cloudiness that you see in there, that's that gas that's being generated. Well, the gas dissipates really quickly.
I saw that. Is it better to drink it while it's cloudy?
You want to drink it cloudy. You want to drink it cloudy. You want to drink it fresh. It's kind of like this is the icing on the cake. The rest of it is the cake, and I want the whole thing. So that's what I love about having an ionizer at the convenience. Sort of, I call it like having the fountain of youth at your own faucet.
Right.
We're able to drink it abundantly and as strong as possible. And that
is a cool little contraption. Now, once again, the price on this?
These are $297 retail.
Retail, okay.
And I have a very special price, which I don't want to say for the whole world, but if somebody calls me, I have these wholesale for your viewers.
Okay. Well, that's fabulous.
Another component you asked, you said, well, what do you put in that? Do you just put regular water in that? And so now we know that, the Associated Press did their own independent study, and they found pharmaceuticals in the drinking water of 41 million Americans. So what happens is, and they were quite surprised. They go, how did this get there? and when they asked,
Tablets.
they just stopped asking, because the municipality said, well, nobody really ever asked that question before, but we don't have any way to get the pharmaceuticals out. We can scrub for particles, big rocks down to small rocks. So I kind of say like a 10 micron filter might catch a shark, and a 5 micron filter might catch a bass, and a 3 micron filter might catch a minnow. But what makes it through the net is the water, the soluble stuff that was never a big piece of something to begin with. So as we eliminate the medications, most of which doesn't stay in our body, or people flushing things down. In fact, most bottles, pharmaceuticals, they say flush to dispose of. So now we have high concentrations of this stuff in our water supply. And the challenge with water I'm a hardcore purist about toxicity as well as hydration, is that we have to make the water, we got to get the bad stuff out before you ionize your water. And the reason is, a big fear that I have, is that positive charge in that aquaporin, that's a mechanism to keep toxins out of our cells. And so most of our toxins have a positive charge. Well, if we ionize water that has positively charged toxins in it, like just tap water, and then we sort of artificially give it a negative charge, I believe we potentially run the risk of making toxins more bioavailable.
Right.
So that's why I'm such a big advocate on optimum filtration before optimum ionization. And my big take on that is this. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it's this NSF symbol. And my family, we did hair samples, we did hair analysis, and we found mercury, aluminum, formaldehyde, and fluoride in high amounts in our family's hair samples. And like I said earlier, I was concerned. I didn't want to be next. I saw what happened to my father as he passed away, lived through the whole process. And I thought, okay. And then I had this other friend who had talked about what had happened in her recovery. And so I became very mindful. How do we get the toxins away and at bay? What was the mechanism? How did they get in, first of all?
Right. And
then what can we do about that? So learned a lot about water. What I learned about water is that a lot of water filtration companies just aren't the most it's just not the most honest and ethical industry. I believe they're well intentioned,
Right.
but they're engineering companies, and so they're not necessarily health companies. So
Right.
they're seeing part of the equation, and that part is we got to get the bad stuff out.
Exactly.
Well, as we just saw, we can take a lot of bad stuff out, but take the good stuff out with it.
Exactly.
So what I found is, you know, interestingly enough, I did a video, and I had a piece of toilet paper,
Uh-huh.
and I said, friends, this is the most amazing water filter you're ever going to see. And it's just a piece of toilet paper.
Uh-huh.
And if you said, hey Buzz, how does that filter? Does that take out lead? And I'd say, yeah, Randy, it removes or reduces up to 99.9% of the lead and the fluoride and everything else, because all we have to do is a fraction of it stick to that piece of toilet paper, and that's up to 99.9%. So, you know, as consumers, most of us don't have test equipment
Right.
to test this stuff. So what I did is I found NSF, and NSF is the actual highest standard of testing. And there's 3 states that mandate, California, Idaho, and Wisconsin, that mandate every single filter sold in those states goes through NSF independent testing for safety, for consumer safety.
Wow.
So I went to NSF, I said, what's the highest rated filter you have? They said it's a solid carbon block filter.
Mm-hmm.
It works on a par with reverse osmosis as far as removing contaminants, but lets the trace electrolytes through.
Uh-huh.
And that's just a genius thing. Arsenic, mercury, formaldehyde, fluorides, all of this type of stuff, this does a brilliant job of, while letting the trace electrolytes through.
That's fabulous. Well, Buzz, this is so fascinating. We're out of time, but we could talk about this for hours, I think. And wow, what an education. And I'll tell you, you're probably like me, you're wanting to get all of these things, especially the laundry. We have the one with the air, and then of course this is just amazing. And this is something that you can just carry around with you
Right.
and have that right at your fingertips. So, I mean, it's so important. So once again, real quickly, the website?
So for the H2 fuel bottle, they can go to myh2fuel.com and learn all about hydrogen hydration.
Uh-huh.
And then my other site is enviromedsciences.com. So we have science and data on all of these technologies. I've got a bunch of videos that are up there. Anybody can feel free to send me an email or a direct phone call, get a hold of me. Ask for Buzz, not to go through the formal Carl, just
That's
say,
easy to remember.
I saw Buzz on Randy's show, and we'll take care of you.
Okay, well, Buzz, thanks so much. It's
Blessings
been
to you.
just
Thank
great.
you for having me.
And we'll see you next week, same time, same station. Bye-bye, everybody.